Tutors, mentors, and the city with your host.com.
The City Tutors presents
Tutors, mentors, and the city
with your host.com.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Kevin.com Brown, and welcome to Tutors, Mentors, and the City. And please join me in welcoming my guest for this episode, Mr. Zach Ivkovic. Yay! Zach, how are you?
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for joining us. So you have a backdrop I've never seen before in any of my adventures through CUNY. Tell us about that backdrop and your connection.
Well, look, I'm a typical immigrant story. CUNY was my route to higher education, like it is for so many people in New York City that come from all walks of life. And it certainly was for me as a kid that came to the United States as an 11-year-old, not speaking a lick of English, I couldn't put a sentence together if you asked me to at the time. And, CUNY was definitely the number one option for me financially and otherwise. So it was so ironic that I continued my career and tried to make a difference in lives of other people that were very much like me from all walks of life that came to New York and sought to advance themselves and their families in their life through good quality higher education.
Absolutely. And it's CUNY Athletics. What's your connection?
Well, I started as a media relations person. I was a part-time SID at Hunter, where I studied and played soccer. And then I got a offer to join the CUNY Athletic Conference as a part-time sports information person from the late Michael Stoyerman, who taught me a lot. And I took the challenge on when CUNY was not as developed athletically. Our programming was minimal. A lot of the stuff that we did was bare minimum because our funding was very low and weak. Like a lot of things that, a lot of city agencies, they deal with that vie for public support. And my task really was to make it better for the next generation. I took that as a challenge for me to make sure that the future generations have it a lot better than I did as a student athlete and as a student. So I think that we have come a very, very long way in my 33 years. And this is my final, not year, but final month in the CUNY system. I finish up this summer and then hopefully move on to other things. But for the time being, I retire from the CUNY system this summer.
Okay. Now, listen, I know what retirement feels like because I, as an actor, I just retired during the pandemic.
Do you ever retire as an actor?
You know what?
That's such a thing?
You know what? When you are blessed enough to have a career, that means you collect a pension, right? So retirement is a word in parentheses, right? Or in quotation marks. It's a word in quotation marks because I collect a pension. I can lay home and watch TV all day, or I could lay on the beach all day. But
understood.
I have not lost a step. Right? So when you say you're retiring from CUNY, I know what that means, right?
Tell me. I want to hear your.
You're going to sit back and collect a big fat retirement check.
I'm not going to do that. That's not me. It's not in my DNA. It's funny when I say the word retirement. In this particular case, it only means that I have done as much as I possibly could within CUNY athletics to advance it to where it is, that it's time for me for the next challenge. And it just so happens coincidentally that I have the longevity and the age to actually retire because I put in enough years, 33 years in the CUNY system since my graduation, to move on to other things and try new challenges and see what else I could accomplish. Because honestly, retirement is I'm not looking for that beach just yet. I'm not looking for that easy road. Not to say that it's an easy road, but for me, it seems like I have a lot of things left undone, and I got quite a bit of renewed energy, enthusiasm for the next step to think about anything other than retirement. But extremely satisfied with particularly last 20 years, where I was a commissioner for the CUNY Athletic Conference. Extremely satisfied for the work that we've been able to accomplish and to elevate it to a level where we're easily the tops in NCAA Division III in terms of our funding, structure, programming, being able to do NCAA Division III sports, NJCAA Division III sports, and to have started our inclusive adaptive sports platform, which is one of only 16 in the entire country. So, and then they're all being self-funded, where we're not asking for anybody for anything. We have been able to bring in the fundraising and sponsorships to an all-time high, where we're really not concerned about the funding. How that goes in the future, where I'm not in control of it anymore, I don't know, but I could say that I've built it to a point where I've left it in great shape, and then, wish them best of luck. And as I move on in a different direction. So I'm excited on both ends.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you are one of the success stories of first generation college immigrant, came here at 11. And if we were looking at that 11-year-old today, we would have no idea that you're going to turn out to be what you've turned out to be, right? You're very successful, accomplished, wonderful story. But there are still first generation immigrants coming to this country who are struggling, who are running into some obstacles that they can't figure out how to get around, get over, go under, knock down, break through. The struggle continues, right? So I'm kind of asking you the last question first. What do you say to them?
I think it's pretty straightforward, to be honest. You have to assimilate in terms of what's going to allow you to succeed, language and education. So those two things, and then to have your set of goals, because the ceiling in the United States, unlike most places around the world, is very high. Some people may argue how high that is, and that's a conversation for another day. But it allows an immigrant like me, who came here without knowing the language, to get an education at an affordable price, and to set my own goals and agendas, what I can accomplish. And at the end of the day, that's really what you're asking for. You're asking for an opportunity to prove yourself and prove your value on your own merit. And that's what I think this nation allows you, unlike most others around the world. And I think that's why we have the immigration that we have, and the folks that are seeking to come to the United States, because they're looking at it as a better tomorrow, a better opportunity for a tomorrow. Nothing is promised to you. A lot of people confuse that with, someone's going to give you something. Well, no, nothing is going to be given. I mean, 5 years after my parents came to the United States, they bought a home. They, trust me when I tell you, they did not speak English barely after 5 years. Because why? Because they were busy busting their butt, working hard to make some money so they could put my brother and I through college and pay for our education, which was rather affordable at that time, unlike, college today. But still, that's what they're focused on. Their focus was on us and making a better tomorrow for us. So we owe everything to them, because they sacrificed and did all kinds of multiple jobs to make sure they bought a home and got an education for us. And then it's up to us. And I think that's what a lot of immigrants these days do, is try to create a better tomorrow for their children. And the way to do that is through education. And the way in New York City to do that at the most affordable and the best value is to do it through the CUNY system and get a diploma. But diploma is not enough. It's got to be fight and battle, and you're given the opportunity, but if you don't take it, and if you don't do your part, nothing is going to be guaranteed to you.
Did you ever have a moment like I made it moment, or I'm gonna be all right moment? Did you ever have that moment?
No, because I still think that that moment hasn't come for me. I still feel like there's so much more that I want to accomplish. I would say that I probably came close in the last couple of years of my commissionership at CUNY, because we managed to do things that 20 years before people thought you're crazy. There's no way you're doing any of that. I like the opportunity to, through our work and efforts and ideas and execution, to prove people wrong or what's possible. So I probably come close a few times in that, because as we put things, checked off things, we kept doing things that were like, wow. Then we added the inclusive and adaptive sports out of the blue that, most vast 95% of Division I schools don't have. So we did a lot of things that I was extremely proud of, but I'd like to think that I have way too much left in the tank to think that I'm at that moment where I've done it all. I've got ways to go. So I'm happy with what we've done, but I've got ways to go.
Okay, and where are you from? When you came to America, where'd you land?
My family came from the former Yugoslavia. So my family is Serbian, just like our soon-to-be NBA champion Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets. I'm not partial or anything, but soon to be, just like tennis great, all-time GOAT Novak Djokovic. So not to pass any dispersions on anyone else, but my family came from there. It's a difficult history, a lot of conflicts in Europe, a lot of wars, a lot of things that people have gone through and struggled through that made them stronger, just like a lot of people do that every day in the United States. So there's a lot of similarities in the immigrant population of New York City, where people are coming through struggles, and struggles kind of make you stronger and better. So I'd like to think that my background allowed me to see the struggles of my parents and everyone else, to make sure that it was on us. We got the resources. We got to succeed. There's no excuses. There's no going back. There's no looking for the easy road out. Roll up your sleeves. Let's get the work done. So that's the kind of background I came from.
And your parents came to New York first, and what borough did you land in?
I'm a Queens boy all the way through. I landed in Queens and I stayed in Queens up until 2 years ago. I went to the dark side, moved to Jersey with my family. But up until that, it was 40 plus years in Queens. So I loved it. I love the diversity of Queens. There is no place on the planet, and I've traveled a lot of the world. There is no place on the planet that comes close to the diversity of my work and of the place where I live. And you learn so much about the world just from talking to your neighbors, and it's priceless.
What high school did you go to?
Grover Cleveland, Ridgewood, Queens. Played soccer there. Loved it. Commuted then, took the train, the M train, and then up to 68th and Lex to Hunter College for 4 years, and played soccer. We were like the nomads, playing everywhere we can, because Manhattan doesn't allow you space to have your own athletic field. So I enjoy that immensely, but that fight and that struggle definitely helped me to kind of shape me where I want to be, but also gave me great opportunities. I mean, not only working CUNY, but all the stuff I've done, internationally through sports, and working 5 Summer Olympics, and working a bunch of world championships in different sports, and the World Cup, and working the US Open for 6 years. And then I wanted to turn that into giving opportunities to our students at CUNY, where I organized and generated financial support to pay for our 7 Goodwill tours, where we took our CUNY students around the world at no cost to them to kind of give back, but also see how the other side of the world lives. Sometimes you don't know what struggles other people go through until you see it firsthand. So I tried to turn that around in my experience and my love for sports and connect that to the real world, both here and around the world. So a lot of positivity there. I've enjoyed that immensely. But Queens is at the core of it for sure.
And what was your major at Hunter?
Mass media communications. Some of the folks that were my professors there I'm still in touch with, and I still see from time to time. Professor Shore, Aya Aravainen, who was the chair of the media studies department, is now the VP of student affairs at Hunter College. She's still going strong and great. So a lot of people that are still there that I'm very fond of.
So when you came to Hunter, they had a soccer team already?
Yes.
Okay. Soccer seems huge, right? It's not the hugest in America, in the States, but internationally, worldwide, it seems like, OMG, what is happening over there, right?
Correct.
What that when you were entering college, was soccer still the international mega sport that it seems to be now?
Yes, it was, but it's sort of like the tree that falls in the woods, and the people in the United States didn't see the tree or hear the tree fall. That's kind of how soccer was for a long time. Now that it's far more mainstream on the media, in the media world, then now it's kind of resonating more. I mean, you just think about our number one viewership sport is the Super Bowl and NFL. And the viewership for the Super Bowl is about 100+ million, 100 and change. And we're like, wow, 100 million watch the Super Bowl. Well, the World Cup is watched by about I don't know, I want to guess somewhere about 1.5 billion people. Okay, so it dwarfs the Super Bowl, but we don't know it. So until you go around the world when there's a big sporting event and the city is empty and there's nobody on the streets, you're like, wow, where is everybody? What's going on here? Oh, there's a soccer. Really? They're like, everything stopped because of a soccer game? Yeah, you got to get around a little more.
Okay. And so after you got your bachelor's, right? BA, BS, what'd you get? What was that?
I'm always confused by that. Bachelor of Arts. Yes, BA.
You know, I ask that question a lot. I dropped out of college 3 decades ago, went back, got my degree 2 years ago, and I got a BA, but I had to check also because I get confused.
I think that communication is an art, not a science, but okay.
Yes. So after you got your bachelor's degree, what did you do?
Well, before I got my bachelor's degree, I want to tell you that my arch nemesis in soccer was City College of New York. And the reason being is that they won like every CUNY title every year. I mean, they had a legendary coach in Gus Naclerio. They had a squad that was UN in the mini. They were kicking everyone's butt left and right. And in 1987, my sophomore year at Hunter, we won the CUNY title. So we didn't have a winning season for like 13 years before I got there. So we were really thrilled to beat City College and knock them off their perch. But when I just as I was graduating, I was offered this part-time position at CUNY. And while I like to do all the other stuff in the TV world, I enjoy that freelancing wise. I started out and I just never left. I loved it. You know, the thing that I love about my job at CUNY was that it's like Confucius said, if you love what you do, you never have to work a day in your life. That's exactly what I did. I love what I do to support and help the students at CUNY. And I never wanted to leave. but everything runs its course. When you accomplish everything, you feel like you need a new challenge, and I felt like this is the perfect storm where it's time to do that. But it's just immense to go back and recap 33 years of the growth and trying to do things, just priceless. I loved it.
Now, you mentioned that you were a commissioner of something. Does a commissioner apply for a job with a CV and an interview, or is that an appointed position? How does one become a commissioner?
You have to apply. You have to apply for sure. The ironic thing is right now there's a search for my replacement, for my permanent replacement. So there's an application process and there's a big search going on. So we'll see who takes that on and who likes the challenge. Most people don't understand the role of the commissioner because you think the closest thing to it would be the athletic director, but you're an athletic director at one institution. You're a commissioner for, in this case, 25 campuses of CUNY, of which 17 have athletic teams. And then you've got NCAA teams, NJCAA teams, and you have like 2 sets of rules. And you're trying to manage all of that from one office, all of the regular season, all the championships, all the special events that we put on for our students. And then you tie in, media. You want to broadcast all your finals. You want to put in a great event for our fans. So there's a lot into it that transcends one campus athletic department and fielding teams and making sure you have coaches. I've never had a student athlete or a coach work for me. They work for the campuses. So my job was always big picture, and I enjoy the big picture thinking. I enjoy trying to do more for more people. So if I could cast a wide net and do a job for 1,000 people as opposed to for 100, I always look to do the job for 1,000 people because I feel like I have a greater impact in the work that we do and that our work has more meaning.
Absolutely. So while you were speaking, a couple thoughts ran through my mind that I am the delegate for the University Student Senate, which is the 25 campuses of CUNY. And I am I just hosted the award ceremony, the final award ceremony for the athletic department at CUNY. And what I'm trying to say is I might be uniquely qualified for that commissioner that you are vacating.
If I had a voice, I'd give it to you. I don't have a choice. I'm out. I'm done. They forgot me.
Back, right?
Listen, it's like I said, it's unique, but it's just different, and I think that, what the funny thing is, I have to tell you, when I was the assistant commissioner in mid-90s, I used to tell my boss, the only thing I don't want to do is the budget and the sponsorships. Okay, I said, I'll do everything else, leave everything else to me. You just take those 2 things, I got the rest, right? 7 years later, when I became the commissioner, 90% of my work was the budget and the sponsorships. So you have to adjust and be flexible in what it's sort of tackling the task of the day. And the task of the day is bring in more money so you could do more for the students. Because the more you bring in, the more you could do in programming, the more you could do for the whole system. And that's kind of like, that's why we expanded to inclusive and adaptive sports for our students with disabilities, because I didn't have to ask anybody for money. We had the money. I wanted to make sure that we take care of that population that needs support and service. So for me, it's like, it became quite apparent very quickly that if I'm able to raise money and bring in money, then I could do more. And all the things that I want to accomplish, I can accomplish because I don't have to ask for anybody. I don't have to beg it for anyone. I could just do it because I created a situation through our work to make it possible.
Does Hunter College have a gymnasium?
If they do.
Okay,
I've been 3 floors underground, but they have 2 gymnasiums.
Okay, but the playing of the game is outside of the.
Well, the indoor arenas, all CUNY schools have quality indoor space. The problem is outdoor sports. So baseball, softball, soccer, tennis, track, you got issues. A number of schools. Indoor sports we're covered. Pools, gym, basketball, volleyball, swimming, no problems. It's the outdoor sports you have issues with.
How do we address the outdoor sports?
It's been a problem since I've been there, and it's going to continue to be a problem because they just don't build any more land in New York City. There just isn't enough space, and you have constant issues. I've proposed a bunch of stuff to the chancellery and to the college presidents, but so far they have not moved on that. I think it takes a little more resoluteness to address the problem that's been with us for a long time. And it's not changing because it's all the youth sports, all the high schools, all the colleges, they're battling for the same space. And unless you have your own, you're going to always have this problem. And, I've tried to address it that way and say, hey, we need our own. We got to stop asking for people to use their space that's overused. We have to build our own. And it takes commitment and money and people working together to do it. I know it's possible, but it's going to take people that are above my pay grade to get that done, because if it was up to me, it would be done already, but they have to be willing to service the next generation or in the next 10, 20, 30 years of students to be able to do that. Otherwise, we're going to be spinning our wheels the same manner that we have up until now.
Yeah, now, CUNY, the CUNY campuses are beautiful. We have some beautiful campuses.
Absolutely.
You would think one would imagine with some creative thinking, 25 campuses. I visited Kingsborough.
Yep.
A month ago. This is the most beautiful place I've ever seen in my life. This is a tropical island. I don't know, but we have some amazing real estate here in this city. You would think that there can be a combined effort to solve that problem.
Yep. You would think that, but they haven't done it, quite honestly. It's not because we haven't pushed it, we haven't tried. They just maybe not, clearly not a priority, but we definitely have some gorgeous campuses throughout New York City. But the athletic facilities, a couple of them are really beautiful as well. I mean, you look at Staten Island and Queens, they got beautiful facilities, but there's also places that need help. Lehman needs help. Here, York, I've spent the last 9 months trying to help them out. I've done my best, and one of the first thing that I've tried to tackle with the president was the athletic facilities that we have that haven't been used forever, that have been out of date. And so I'm happy to say that a month ago, we got going with our track. We're going to redo the entire track. It's going to take 6 months, but we'll get that done. And we're trying to move forward with redoing our tennis complex and our soccer and softball field. So, I've got short time left on the job, but I'm trying to make sure that before I leave that we have some of these things already moving forward and getting done, because that could be a tremendous recruiting tool. It could be a tremendous revenue generator that could set us up well for a long time to come. So facilities are vital. My advice is to try to make sure that folks in the CUNY system pay more attention to it, because they certainly haven't in a real and meaningful way up until now.
So you came through your academic journey as a student athlete. What should student athletes know? What do they need to hear from a man with your experience and identical journey? What do you tell student athletes?
They got to take advantage of the situation. Sometimes today's student athletes are a lot different than yesterday's. I don't think my parents ever saw me play in college, not once. They were busy working. Today, there's a lot of helicopter parents. They're like, making decisions for their kids. They're there every step of the way, rather than kids are now in college. They're grown adults already. They got to start kind of taking care of themselves. And that's where you got to start thinking of what is sports about? 99% of the athletes in college are not going pro. Okay. The parents need to get that in their heads first before the kids. And the kids are thinking like, oh, well, I'm a college athlete, I'm going pro. No, you're not. Relax. Okay. Get your education. Use the college recruitment of you as a student athlete to, number one, get your education, get your diploma, have it cost you as little as possible. Okay. I tell kids, and people are confused. I said, you pick, God forbid you get into Baruch, or you get into City or Hunter, Queen, man, you're getting an education that's on par and better than vast majority of schools in the Northeast. Yet you're getting it at $7,300. I know it might be expensive for some folks, but $7,300 is a lot better than $73,000, which you're paying in a lot of places these days. So I'd say take the advantage of the fact that you're recruited to be a student athlete to get your degree, and use the skills that you learn, because employers these days are looking for kids that are great team players, that work within nobody ever says, hey, Kev, I'm hiring you. Your job is to sit in the room by yourself and do your work, and you never see anybody else. Well, if you can't work with other people, if you can't be part of a team, to join a team to perform a task or accomplish a task, that's what you're getting in the real world. And who has a leg up? Student athletes. What have they done their whole life? They worked within a team. They did their part to accomplish the goal of the team. And that's why student athletes are so valuable when it comes to the workforce. So I'd say take advantage of being an athlete to get your education. That's number one. And number two, use that as a stepping stone to a career that you want, especially if you're in New York. The thing that I tell kids all the time, if you're going to school in New York City and you don't do the maximum number of internships that you can, you're totally missing out. Every single job that I've gotten, okay, after graduation, I mean every single one, was as a result of my internships. Okay, you treat it as your job. You don't go in there to make coffee and make copies. You go in there to work, to learn, to network, to show what you can accomplish. If they say, I need you to do this, do 10 times more. I know a number of people, some very accomplished folks that have done everything as a result of being given an opportunity to intern, proving themselves. And that employer said, if I have two resumes and the resumes are Kevin and Zach, and the resumes look exactly the same, you can copy word for word, but Kevin did an internship for me 3 months. I know Kevin through and through. Zach is some dude, he looks good on paper, but I don't really know Zach. I know Kevin. Why am I going to hire Zach? I'm going to hire Kevin. And that's really what it comes down to. It's comfort level of you have great resumes, and if all things are equal, I'm going to hire the person that I know. And I did that same thing at CUNY Athletics. I would have 8 to 10 interns at least every year, and prove themselves. A bunch of them now have full-time jobs in the CUNY system at various schools, whole bunch of them, because they proved themselves. They came in, busted their butt, proved themselves, And I said, hey, I have a part-time position. Do you want it? Sure. And they grew. And so ultimately, it's about, I think internships are not something that people take enough advantage of, because yes, you're thinking that you're working for free, but I need to make money. But then again, a lot of internships now are paid internships. But more importantly, if you're thinking of, hey, you want to be an actor. Well, you know what? I want to work at Kaufman Studios. I want to work in Astoria. I'm going to meet people. Maybe they need an extra, and that's my way in. Maybe I'm going to be an extra on show somewhere, and I'm going to get my foot in. So you got to think about, where do I want to be? What field do I want to study? And what 3 companies are my ones that I'm like, wow, I'd love to work there. Well, go do an internship there while you're a student. And then, 2 things can happen. One, you love it even more and say, wow, this is the field I want to be in, and this may be the company I will work for. Or 2, it might be, man, this looked glamorous, but this is terrible. I never want to set foot in here again. I'm going to try a different profession. But you won't know either or unless you're in there and you try it. And I would say to students, absolutely, you must do a couple of internships while you're in school, especially because you're here year round. Most of the kids come back to New York during the summer and want to do internships, and that's when it's a crowded field. But you're here the rest of the year, and you're much more valuable to those folks, and you could get an internship a lot easier.
Very impactful. I appreciate that advice. Thank you. And I hope any young person watching this episode, I hope you heard that. Because that was very powerful. Okay, so we talked about a lot of things. Did we leave anything out?
I'm sure we left things out, but I think we covered quite a bit, quite a few important things. I think the other piece of advice I would say to folks is explore the world. Explore the world. The know-how that you learn and succeed in New York City transforms and is exportable to a lot of places. And I've met a number of CUNY alum who are all over the world doing great things. Some are athletes, some are doing things that they love, some are teaching. I hired a young lady as an assistant softball coach here, who just came from teaching in Morocco, teaching English in Morocco, and she spent 2 years, I think, in Mongolia. And the only way you'll learn about the world and get closer to the world and understanding of the world that we live in, that is so interconnected these days, is by going out there and seeing it. Stop reading newspapers and watching too much TV. Go out there and explore the world yourself, rather than, reading news, whether you like it or not, from faraway places without experiencing it yourself. It's a lot easier, and you're a much smarter person. And the other thing is, when you do explore the world, please don't go over there and start talking to people in English. Okay, whatever country you go to, learn a few phrases and words so that you don't sound like a quote unquote dumb American. Be a smart American and learn a few phrases. And believe me, people are going to reciprocate even more so, because they want to speak English. So, but the opening line is always in their language. And if you say, hello, how are you? I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish. It's going to go a long way. They're going to come and they're going to try to talk to you in English, but it's going to be, an eye opener. I always use people always complain about France. Oh my God, they're so unfriendly. They hate us Americans. Well, because you walk into a store and you start talking in English. You're in France, for crying out loud. Imagine you sitting in your office and I come in from China and I start talking to you in Mandarin. You're going to say, oh, dude, what do you think you are? What's wrong? Well, same thing. You go to other countries, try to learn a few things in their language so that you don't sound like that dumb American.
Okay, excellent point, excellent insight. I appreciate that. I'm on day 125 of Duolingo for Spanish, trying to learn Spanish, and I'm gonna tell you, I do okay. I do okay with my lessons, and I try to practice out in the streets. I'm from the Bronx,
I love it.
I try to practice with the guy at the tire place. I don't understand what he's saying. It's like a whole nother.
All you have to say is, yo quiero un café con leche. ¿A dónde?
Now, see, I know what you said. I know what you said. You said, I want coffee with milk and
where?
I,
Point
I,
me to the best Cuban place around.
so I went to the tire place. I go to the tire place. I hit a pothole. 2 of my rims got bent. I had to go to the tire place to get the rims. So the guy jacks up my car, and then he jumps on his bike and he rides off. Now, I don't mind because I'm a student. I'm going for my master's now at City College. So I sit in the car and I'm working on a paper. So I'm in no rush. So I look up, 35, 40 minutes went by. I get out my car, the guy's gone. So he comes back and I'm saying to him, man, you can't just leave. You left for a half hour. You got to say something to me. And he's looking at me like he doesn't know. I'm like, dude, yo, I have to go. And he doesn't know what I'm saying. So I'm thinking of Duolingo and I say, yo quiero irme. Now he understands what I'm trying to say, right? But then he pulls out the bike again. So I'm like, you can't get on the bicicleta. You can't just keep.
No tengo tiempo. Vámonos, muévete.
Duolingo didn't teach me to curse somebody out. That's one thing. That's one thing they didn't teach me to do. Dude, keep jumping. And he wouldn't put my car down, right? If he had put my car down and put the tire back on, I could have left at will. He jacked it up and left. So I'm stuck. Anyway, so yeah, you gave some great insight. I told you I think I mentioned I just hosted an event for the athletic department for the athletes, and they gave an award to some of the athletes with GPAs of 3.8 and above. And I'm not even on a team. I just got my GPA up that high, right? So any athlete that can get a GPA 3.8 is no joke. That's a real GPA, right? On top of being an athlete. So I admire the journey of the athletes. I talked to quite a few heads of departments who, were student athletes. Then they got that injury, that career-ending injury.
Correct.
Had to pivot, and the type of challenges, mental challenges that you have to make, because athletics is your whole life.
Yep.
Then you get that scholarship, you go to college, you get that injury, and now you have to change your whole
Correct.
way of. So I admire the student athlete and that academic journey.
And there's so many of them that supposedly couldn't be pro because of an injury. We forget that 99% of them are not good enough. But right. About 20% of them say that, oh, I got an injury, I was going to be a pro. Sure you were. Go back to degree.
One could dream, right?
Yeah.
I know I was a martial artist growing up, and I went to an Olympic judo my sport was judo, and I went to an Olympic training camp one summer. So I was really good. I probably wasn't good enough to compete at the Olympics, but I was good enough for consideration. Good. Right? But I was from the Bronx, and I didn't, you also need mentorship in that arena too. Someone that knows how to maneuver through the little things. That's big. That's a big deal.
Absolutely.
That's a big deal. But, man, I absolutely appreciate your time, the insight you shared. I just got to thank you. I can't thank you enough for joining us, spending this time with us. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. I think that, working in sports, I have to say, is a labor of love. And when you love it, it's a lot easier, and the journey is a lot easier. You meet some phenomenal people. You join the team at the Hunter College, and there's about 15 nationalities that you never heard of at that time. A young kid, and you learn a lot. You grow up a lot faster, and you have the support of your teammates and your coaches. It's priceless. It really is priceless, and I've enjoyed the journey. I've enjoyed giving back immensely, and look forward to giving back even more so in the future. So thank you for the time and the opportunity to share the story.
Now, nobody's listening right now. Did you get that big international offer? Did you get the offer from FIFA yet, or the Olympic World Commission or anything? Did you get that offer, or did you plan on doing something grand like that?
No, I mean, listen, the beauty about free agency, because I'm a free agent for the first time in my life, is that I'm open to it all. But there's now considerations of family and the kids in school and things that they love to do where they're at the moment. So I have to marry the three, really. Interest of my wife, interest of my kids, and then my own professional ambition. So, I'm the best thing I can say is that I'm open-minded about it all. But I've got a little time to figure out where I'm going. I'm not in a rush, so that's a good thing. I don't have to work, like you said. I could go on the beach and relax, but I will. I'm gonna work, and hopefully in about 3 months we could revisit the conversation, and we'll see where we're at.
Absolutely. Take care of the wife, but the kids will be fine. The kids are all right. But great luck. Great luck in every move you make, and thank you so much for your time, Zach.
Thank you. I appreciate it greatly, and the best to you, and look forward to future conversations.
Absolutely. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.
All the best.